Hello, welcome. Today, we're going to support you in finding joy at work and making 2020 your best career year yet. So, welcome. All right, what we're going to do today, we're going to answer these questions. Who is Compassionate Leaders Circle? Why is meaningful work important? What's your pivot type? What's your plan for 2020? What's the Pivot with Purpose Career Accelerator? What's the Donnellan Method? What results do people get from working with Compassionate Leaders Circle? And how can you register for the course and change your life forever? That's right, not lying. Okay, so welcome to the circle. As you might notice, the word compassion is in the title of our company. And we believe, A, that everyone is a leader, and B, that when we act from a place of compassion, we are able to show up in the world as courageous and contemplative and collaborative, and we demonstrate caring about the world that we are in today and the world that we're going to leave behind. So everything that we do here at Compassionate Leaders Circle is motivated by compassion. And we really, that's about identifying suffering, right? So suffering within yourself or within others around you, and helping to ease that suffering and bring greater joy into the world. Okay, so we do a few things at Compassionate Leaders Circle. We offer the Pivot with Purpose Career Accelerator for individuals and also groups at universities, and that's for folks who are looking to make a pivot in their career or up level. And that's probably why you're watching this recording today. We also offer leadership development programs on the individual level and at the corporate level and at the university level. And we offer coach training, so for folks who want to develop compassionate coaching skills. We've worked with a number of people and organizations. You'll see a number of logos here. We did quite a bit of work with Cornell last year, with the University of Denver. You can find us on Forbes.com, and we've been interviewed on NPR. So I'm Kelly Dwyer. I'm the Director of Learning at Compassionate Leaders Circle. I am your facilitator for today. I am an executive and leadership coach. I also coach on well-being as well as being a career coach. I've got my MBA from Cornell, go Big Red, undergrad from University of Colorado at Boulder in journalism. I've had the pleasure of being a part of a number of venture-backed companies, 3 of which had successful exits, so those were interesting rides. I had my own outdoor yoga adventures business for a number of years, and I've worked in a number of different functional areas within a company, so I understand how the various pieces and parts interact. All right, so why is meaningful work important? Well, the research is showing that, as you can see here, I'm going to read it word for word, raises and promotions are more common for employees who have meaningful work. Employees who place a higher value on meaningful work occupy more senior, skilled positions and stay longer. And purposeful work leads to increased levels of commitment, empowerment, satisfaction, and a sense of fulfillment. Who doesn't want that? All right, so when clients come and work with us at Compassionate Leaders Circle, we talk about soul work. We talk about unremarkable work versus remarkable work, bridge work versus soul work. So what do all these terms mean? Unremarkable work is work that is not sustainable. So if you're doing unremarkable work, likely you come home totally drained and exhausted at the end of the day, and not in a good way. You are complaining about work, either internally or to your partner or to your friends and family. You might be using unhealthy ways of relieving stress. You may find it very hard to socialize on the weekends. In other words, just taking your time to recover so that you can go through another week. So that's unremarkable work. Now, we've got 2 different types of remarkable work, which is under the umbrella, out of the rain. There's bridge work and soul work. So soul work we define as the absolute best use of your passions and purpose. And that's really what we're in the business of doing, is we're in the business of helping people discover and do soul work. Now, bridge work is work that leaves you with enough resources to pursue and do soul work. So what does that mean? It means that at the end of the day, you have enough time, emotional energy, money to pursue and do soul work. Some of our clients come to us and discover that their soul work is being a parent. Well, they're never going to make a living as a parent, so they find bridge work, and ultimately that's what's going to pay the bills for them in the long term. Some clients come to us and many clients come to us and they're in unremarkable work currently, and they in order to actually find the space to pursue and do soul work, first they move to a bridge work role and continue the search and the discovery around soul work. Other people move right from unremarkable work and jump fully into soul work. So there's a lot of different options, but that's what we're about in terms of helping people make a career pivot or find more meaning at work. All right, so now we're going to talk about pivot types. We've noticed over the years of working with clients that that clients fall into a number of different categories, and this framework of pivot types can be very helpful in kind of taking your first step or orienting you in the universe of where am I starting in this journey to more meaningful work. So you'll see there are 7 pivot types here. Learner. So if you're a learner, you know you need a change. You're not quite sure what that change is. You don't know how to go about doing it, but you are absolutely clear and certain that you need a change. A liker is someone who doesn't want to leave their job. They see that there's a potential to love their job, and so they work with us to get to that place. A leaper is someone who maybe you're currently in a job search, or you are in a job that is not sustainable for you. Maybe you like the work you're doing, but the environment is toxic and you absolutely need to change companies. So you would be considered a leaper, right? A lancer is someone who is either currently a freelancer or someone who wants to start a freelance career. A launcher is someone who is starting a business, starting a nonprofit. Maybe you want to start a new division within your company. So you could be a launcher, or it could be that it's a nascent venture and you've joined and you're really looking to grow it. So in that sense, you're a launcher as well. Now, leavers are people who, yes, they're making a transition and they're in the question of what's next and discovering the vision for that. But leavers are also very focused on what they're leaving behind. So they could be moving into retirement. They could be transitioning out as CEO of their company. So it's all about legacy for a leaver. A linker is someone who falls into 2 or more of the categories above, the first 6 categories. And we work with linkers to develop a sustainable, holistic plan for how to integrate multiple roles into like the plan going forward. All right, so what's your pivot type? Write that down. Okay, so what makes us different at Compassionate Leaders Circle? Well, we combine curriculum, coaching, and contemplative practices. So for every program that a client goes through, there's an actual curriculum with exercises and frameworks and all sorts of juicy ways to go deep and gain insight about ourselves. And then, of course, there's the coaching. Now, we do one-to-one coaching, we do group coaching, and then we always incorporate contemplative practices. And so you're going to get an experience of a contemplative practice today. So we are going to move into an exercise here, and I really strongly encourage you to find a space where you can get quiet, a space where you feel safe exploring, maybe closing your eyes, maybe doing some reflection and writing. And so what we're going to ultimately create today is called a mind map. And you'll see here an example of a mind map on the left, and it has colors and it potentially has pictures. Now, it doesn't have to have colors and it doesn't have to have pictures. It could just have words and, doodles or what have you. But this is an example of a mind map, and the research has shown that people who are able to vividly describe or picture their goals are more likely to achieve them. So they're 120 to 140% more likely to achieve their goals if if you can vividly describe, picture what it is you want to create. Okay, so we're going to support you in doing that today. All right, so step one, I want you to take out a piece of paper and a pen. Use one color for this balance wheel, okay? So, and divide the wheel, the circle, into 4 pieces of the pie and label them like you see here. Passions and purpose is one piece of the pie. Love and relationships is the second piece. Career and finances is the third. And then health and well-being is the fourth. So once you have your circle created, your pie pieces labeled, what I want you to do is to consider each of these areas of your life. And I want you to ask yourself the question, how satisfied am I in each of these areas? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being low, 10 being high, maximally satisfied. How satisfied am I in each of these areas? I want you to give it a number. Put the number on the diagram somewhere. Could be inside the pie pieces. It could be outside of the pie pieces. And then I want you to visually represent the numbers in each of the pies such that if you labeled the center of the circle 0 or 1, 0, and the outside of the circle 10, where would a 6, show up on that circle? Where would a 3 show up? Where would a 7 show up? Where would a 5 show up visually? And the reason we're having you visually represent this is because you access a different part of your brain when you are engaged in visual activity. Okay, so you label it. Now, the next step, and I'm going to give you some time to think about this. What would need to change in each of these areas for these numbers, the numbers that you chose, to move outward, to move to a 10 or toward a 10? What would need to change in each of these areas? So what would need to change? What would you have to do? Or what would need to shift or change in passions and purpose for your level of satisfaction to be at or close to a 10? What would need to change in the area of love and relationships for your level of satisfaction to get to a 10 or close to a 10? Write your answers down. What would need to change in the area of career and finances for your number, for your level of satisfaction to move to a 10 or close to a 10? What would need to change in the area of health and well-being for your level of satisfaction to move to a 10 or close to a 10? Okay, so now we're going to move to creating the mind map. Get out a new piece of paper, so a fresh piece of paper. So you've got your circle on one piece of paper, and find a new piece of paper, okay? All right, so I'm going to stop my video right now so you can just hear me. Going back to the circle, I identified different areas, different opportunities to move each of these scores out. So looking at your circle, first I want you to answer the question, what do you notice? If you can, answer this out loud as if you're answering me, talking to me. What do you notice about your circle and the numbers and the categories? Okay. Looking at all the opportunities you've identified, which one, when shifted closer to or to a 10, do you believe has the potential to bring the greatest joy in your work in 2020? Of all of these opportunities you've identified, which one, if moved closer to a 10, would bring you the greatest joy in your work in 2020? Okay, so take that, what you just identified, the one area, if improved, would bring the greatest joy in your work in 2020, and write that down in the middle of your fresh piece of paper. That is the beginning of your mind map. Okay, so write that down. You can circle it. You can put a squiggly line around it. You can put a star around it, whatever you want. This is for you to access your creativity. There's no wrong way to do this exercise. Okay, so now what I'd like you to do, or I invite you to close your eyes. Just suppose it's December 31st, 2020, and you have gotten what you wanted. What do you notice? In your mind's eye, see yourself. It's December 31st, 2020. You've gotten what you wanted. You've achieved it. What do you notice? Who do you see in your mind's eye? Who's around you? What sounds are you hearing? What are you doing? How are you feeling? When you're ready, open your eyes and write on your mind map, write what's coming up for you. Who is benefiting from you having gotten what you wanted? Write it down. Draw pictures if you want to. You can use different colors if you have them available. Who else benefits from you having gotten what you wanted? Who are you? Who are you when you've gotten what you wanted? Who are you becoming in that moment? Who are you becoming? Why is that important? Now that you got what you wanted, what has changed? What becomes possible then? What does it bring that is even more important? What does it bring that is even more important? What skills of yours did you use to get this, to achieve this? What skills did you need to build to achieve what you wanted? Looking back from December 31st, 2020 to today, what steps did you take to get there? Of all those steps, what is one step you are ready to commit to taking action on now? How might you commit? How might you deepen your commitment to taking this action? Some examples here might include, so if you identified what the one step you're ready to commit to taking action on now is some kind of research, let's say. One way to deepen your commitment to taking action on this is to say that, to identify that you will spend an hour researching over the next week, or perhaps there's a particular resource that you've been wanting to read as part of your research. So maybe deepening your commitment to this is to be specific about how exactly you're going to do the research. So maybe you're going to read this article. And then the next natural question is, by when will you take action on this? Give yourself a deadline. By when will you take action on this? And how will you know you've achieved success with this action step? How will you know you've achieved success with this action step? You may know that you've achieved success because you can check it off your list, or you have just you know that you've discovered some new piece of information that you'll want to take action on, so that you're feeling motivated and your interest has been piqued. So maybe you know you've achieved success if you're feeling a certain way, or if there's specific, what evidence do you have that you've taken this action step? Okay, so that concludes this part of the session. Okay, now we're going to go on and talk about how you might continue working in this way. I hope that was of value for you. So we do have a group coaching program coming up starting February 18th, and it runs 8 weeks. It's called the Pivot with Purpose Career Accelerator. You have two options for how to take this class. You can do it live, or you can do it at your own pace. And I'll explain more about that in just a moment. So what are the outcomes for people who have gone through this Pivot with Purpose program? So what you could expect to experience or receive from the program are new options, a clear vision and purpose for your work. You'll experience a supercharged soul search or job search or business plan creation. You will complete a project related to your soul work, and you will get into action with clarity and confidence. So what the data tells us is that the program is effective. Yay! So we have several assessments, two assessments that people take before the program and after the program. And what we have found is that participants who go through the program see, on average, 106% increase in their career vision, 127% increase in the clarity of their career plan, or the actual the meat of their career plan, and 114% increase in career productivity. So people are taking action, they're planning, and they have a vision around what's next for them. We also ask, essentially, how close do you perceive yourself to be to meaningful work? So pre-program and post-program. And on average, people see almost a third, but a 29% increase in how close they feel to meaningful work. Now, this is in 8 weeks. That's a pretty good result for an 8-week program, or a good return on your time invested in your future. So how do we do that? What does the program consist of? Like I mentioned before, we combine curriculum, coaching, and contemplative practices. And the curriculum is built around the Donelon method. This method was created by my colleague and founder of Compassionate Leaders Circle, Laurel Donelon. And it consists of 12 principles and practices. And we section these 12 principles and practices into 3 different phases. So the first phase that you'll go through in the program is what we call the past. And this is all about getting connected to, reconnected to who you are. And we go into the past to learn about ourselves. So we connect to our courage. We connect to, a belief in something bigger than ourselves. When we talk about faith, we're not talking about religious. It might be religious for some people, but for many people, it's not. Awareness. So we go into the past and we draw the tidbits of value that we can use in our lives today and going forward. And we identify what are the limiting beliefs, what are the thought patterns that we have that stand in our way. And we begin to challenge those and begin to dismantle them. And then we move in the second phase of the program, we move into taking a holistic view of your life today. So we look at your health, we look at your relationships, we look at your relationship to abundance and talk about growing prosperous habits. We look at your relationship to passions in your life. Oftentimes people have gotten so caught up in reaching specific career goals, and they've climbed the ladder and they've gotten to the top of the ladder and they think, oh my God, I'm against the wrong wall and I don't even know what I love to do anymore. What am I passionate about? So we help people connect to their passions and grow them. And in the third phase of the program, we talk about what's happening going forward. So you take everything that you've uncovered, all of the insights, all of the research that you've done in the first 2/3 of the program, and you pull it all together in creating a very clear, comprehensive plan and commitments going forward. So we meet 8 Tuesdays in the evening, starting February 18th, going to April 7th. We run 90 minutes, 7 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Zoom. You'll get to see all the other folks in the cohort, and there's a lot of interactivity. So the 90 minutes goes quickly. Each participant in the program will receive a one-on-one coaching session with me. We can do that before the program, right before the program. We can do it during the program. We can do it right after the program, whatever works for you. You will take pre and post program assessments to measure your progress. There is, like I mentioned, the specialized curriculum based on the Donnellon method, and each participant will get a workbook that you will engage with during between sessions. We will have some special guests, including Laurel Donnellon, our founder, and there will be a private LinkedIn group where we can communicate and I can drop in support throughout the week. We will record each session. So if you want to take the class at your own pace, which we've had participants do, you can access the recorded session on Wednesday, starting on Wednesdays, and follow along in that way. Or if you're participating live, but you need to miss one session, the recording will be there for you. So the program cost is $11.97, or you can break that into 3 payments of $447. It is a fantastic value for your money. You will get a lot of bang for your buck in this program. So what are the next steps? You can sign up for a complimentary career strategy session with me by following that link. Happy to connect with you, answer your questions. We can talk about you, right? Or sign right up for the program. So you can sign up for the program by going to our website, compassionateleaderscircle.com, and find the Pivot with Purpose page and sign up that way. So here is my contact information. Feel free to reach out. You can text me, call me, email me, find me on LinkedIn, sign up for a session. Thank you so much for your time today. And I hope this session was of value for you, and I hope to be working with you. Okay, have a wonderful, wonderful day.